We largely won World War II. As brave and amazing as our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines were, the reality is we won World War II, not because of the bravery of our soldiers or the genius of our generals, but because we could make things faster and better than the Germans and the Japanese could.
Manufacturing.
Yeah, we'd sink one Japanese ship, they couldn't replace it. They'd sink one of our ships, we'd replace it with three ships. The German tanks are better than ours. One German tank would kill two American tanks, but then we'd kill one of their tanks, and they couldn't replace it. They'd kill two of our tanks, 10 more would show up. It was that
Hmm.
simple. Quantity has a quality all its own.
Yeah.
And we've lost that ability. As a matter of fact, it's kind of interesting. You look at our defense industrial acquisition paradigm, it actually looks very, very similar to the Axis powers, Japanese and Germany's defense acquisition processes during World War II, which is very
Mm.
centralized. We make exquisite equipment that's highly engineered, in some cases overly engineered, years of development, very centralized acquisition process with a very tiny number of companies and a lot of bureaucracy overseeing every single step. So we make these exquisite pieces of technology that, frankly, by the time they get in the field, sometimes are not even relevant anymore and are built for the last war. And moreover, they're so expensive to create that to replace them is not economical. So,
Too slow.
anyways, we have to be ready for a peer conflict, not near peer, a peer conflict. And that means we have to reorient our defense industry around free market principles about competition, for all these different weapon systems, and we have to put the warfighter first, not beltway interests, not DC, engineers and programmatic bureaucrats. We have to put the warfighter first to make sure we're ready to build things that they need on the battlefield.
I love it. Well, I know that we don't have a tremendous amount of time today, and I want to shift gears in this final 15 minutes of our conversation and really get into your mindset, because mindset and mental toughness, mental health, mental fitness is really at the heart of the Mountain Tough show. And all the guests from all the different backgrounds that we bring on to the Mountain Tough show, they're inspiring guests from a lot of different fields. But each and every one of them, we try to get an understanding of their mindset, because that is something that practically we can all apply to our lives. And yours has been interesting with your background as a Navy SEAL and now as a senator, but also in the middle of that, you were a business owner and an entrepreneur, and all of those require an insane amount of mental toughness, a different gear, a different way of thinking about life, so that you can plow through adversity, because that adversity is definitely going to hit you as a Navy SEAL training in combat, but then different kinds of adversity are going to hit you really hard as an entrepreneur, and they might look different, but they feel the same in a lot of different ways. And then now you're going to face an insane amount of adversity as a senator. So would love to hear about kind of where your mindset came from, how you think about mindset, and things that work and don't work for you.
You hit the nail on the head. I mean, there's going to be kind of the asymmetric directions of mental toughness. There are people who are very tough in some areas mentally, and yet they're not ready for that vector from a different direction. And I think the pinnacle of mental toughness is really being able to handle that vector from any direction. I mean, think about a piece of lumber. A piece of lumber to try to, it's if you turn a two by four vertically, it can hold a lot of weight. As soon as you turn it horizontally, it snaps.
Hmm.
Like it's the same piece of wood. Nothing's changed, but simply the direction of force on that piece of lumber has a fundamental difference in whether it can handle the stress or not. And I think as a person too, we all have our points of weakness of what can we take, what can we not take. And I think, my first time ever going through kind of a mental toughness exercise that I really felt it was I was 19. I was going through Ranger training, and
Hmm.
before I was a SEAL, I went through Army Ranger School and Ranger training, and that's a different type of suck than Navy SEAL training. And I didn't go through Green Beret training or anything like that, but each kind of soft organization has a different pipeline of training, and each one tests you in a different way, and they
Yeah.
do so because each group has a different mission, really, and different purpose. So if everyone went through the same training, you'd have a group of very similar guys. But what you want is you want groups that have different missions, therefore they have different focuses. But anyways, going through that first time, it was the first time I'd kind of been like really tested physically, which, as you well know, a physical test really is a mental test.
Yep.
It's through your body, but that's just the conduit. The pain is being created to see if your mental metal can handle it.